welcome back to part 3 of our library support series for Bloustein graduate students. Again, I'm Julia Maxwell. I'm your librarian. I liaise to the Bloustein School. So today we're going to mainly be talking about citation management software. Citation management software is one of, I think, the most exciting and useful things that we have access to as researchers and academics in the 21st century. It is so helpful. And what citation management software does is it organizes everything that you're citing for a paper or a project in one place and then can export it all as a works cited or a bibliography in the citation format that you choose. The other thing that makes citation management software really great is that instead of having to type in, the title, the author, the journal, etc., there are several different ways to actually just get that information automatically, and then the citation manager does all of the work for you, which makes things much more streamlined. So there are 3 different citation management softwares that are commonly used here at Rutgers and across academic communities. The first 2 are called RefWorks and EndNote, and both of those have different modalities. You can download apps for your desktop or your laptop, or you can use the browser editions of the software. They are unique because they are specific to, or they have specific subscriptions through Rutgers. So basically, as affiliates of Rutgers, you kind of have access to these services through the library. We pay for subscriptions to them. So that is one thing to note, after you leave graduate school, you might lose access to those services. The third citation manager that is commonly used is called Zotero, and that also has desktop and cloud-based or online options. And it is open source, which means anyone can use it, anyone can download it, and it's maintained by a group of people who have kind of a collective interest in making citation management software available. So one quick thing that I'll note is that none of these are really better than the other in terms of what I would recommend. It really depends on what you end up feeling most comfortable with and what your needs are. So I would recommend downloading all 3 and then kind of playing around with which one feels the most intuitive to you. For me, I started out with Zotero when I was in college, and I've just kind of stayed with it because all of my stuff is there, and I feel most comfortable in that interface now. But that might not be the same for you, and that's totally okay. And I can support you using any of the 3. So we'll go into a little bit of each of these citation management tools, but one thing that I will say is that we have a wealth of information on the library website on how to use these software tools. And all of this information is kind of gathered in a very nice LibGuide, sort of like the research guides that I shared in part 1, that allows you to kind of just have access to all of this info. So let's take a look here. So you can see we have, this is kind of our writing and citation guide, but we have specifically a citation formatting and management section. And you can see we have links to all 3 of our main tools, along with a great deal of other ones. For instance, Son of a Citation Machine is on here. That was my favorite one in the 11th grade. We also have some formatting things. So, APA format is definitely what you'll be looking at as social science students. And so that can be also really helpful. So this is kind of where I would go when you're starting to get set up in the citation management tools. Again, we'll go into kind of the basics of each one today, but just so that when you're ready, you have the full access to all of the information to get you set up. So let's take a look at our 3 tools. So I have the Zotero desktop app installed here. And you can see that basically what comes up is my library, which is every single article or citation or material of any type that I've saved over the course of my use of the app. You can also see here on the side that I have these tabs that kind of I've organized my different projects into. So like all of my grad school work has different tabs and different book chapters I've written, etc. And then you can see that I've got kind of everything I would need to create a citation here on the side, whether that be the publisher, the date, the title, etc. All of those things you use when you are citing something in your work. Now, this will look kind of very similar regardless of the app that you're using. You'll always have a library, and that library will always have the different pieces of information that you would need to create a work cited. I'll show you quickly how to create a bibliography. So I'll just select several titles. I'll just do that by holding down the Command key on a Mac or the Control key on a PC. You can see I'm just selecting different titles. Then I'll right click. I'll go to Create Bibliography from Items. And you can see here that a bunch of different things come up. The first thing that we'll take a look at is to choose our citation style. So again, since we are in the social sciences, we probably will use APA. If you don't see the citation style that you need, you can click Manage Styles, which will pull up all of the different styles that you might need. Just click Get Additional Styles and you can search for them. So that's also very helpful. Oops, let's go back, Create Bibliography. So we'll just go ahead and select APA. I usually just do copy to clipboard at this point because I'm going to insert right into my, my document. And I'll select bibliography because that's going to create the entire work cited. If I select citation, it probably, it will definitely just give me the in-text citation for when you're writing. So we'll click bibliography, click OK. I'll just open a new Word doc here. And there you go. I have all of the citations that I just took from Zotero right into my interface here. So that is Zotero. Let's move on to RefWorks. So RefWorks looks very similar, as you can see. This is a browser edition that I have here. So I have all references. You can see I have the citations. I really like that RefWorks has these tags here. So like, I really appreciate that you can click the tags and then see like the different subjects that your work is spanning. Again, you can organize in folders, take a look at tabs. To export with RefWorks, you just, select whichever ones you would want to use or select all of them, click Create Bibliography, and then again, choose your citation style, and then there they all are. And you can see here that, like I said, this is licensed by Rutgers. And then lastly, we have EndNote. So EndNote, again, looks very similar. I have the browser edition pulled up here, but I also have the app installed. So you can see the app looks very different. This looks a little bit more like Zotero. But you can see, again, obviously it's clear that I don't use EndNote on a daily basis, but I've saved just one thing to show you as an example. So you can see that, regardless of where I'm looking, that I've got the same article and everything's backed up to the cloud. So this is, super helpful. And again, you can go ahead and just export and create citations directly to copy and paste here. I also like that EndNote has the Get It at R button that we talked about in our second video. So, if you're wanting to go back to that article, pulls it right up, which is awesome. The other thing that I really like is that EndNote has a collect feature where you can search for articles online directly from its interface. So you have to select which library catalog you're going to use, but let's just type in Rutgers and it comes right up. Click connect, and then you could just go ahead and search. So let's do solar power because that was what we had been searching. Let's take a minute. Cool. So now we have all this stuff. So I wouldn't recommend this being like the first place that you searched because it's like a little less easy to navigate than just using the library catalog, as we talked about in part 2 of this video series. But it's really nice to know that you can just like, if you already know the article you want, you could just grab it right from here. And then you could just go ahead and add it to a group here, which I don't have any groups set up, but this would just allow you to add it to your library. So that is also something that I would highly recommend taking a look at. So those are our 3 citation management tools, but let me show you how to actually get a paper that you're looking at into any one of these 3 tools. So let's start again with Zotero. I've gone ahead and just pulled up a specific paper here from the library catalog. So here's just a solar power in urban environments paper that I went ahead and found. I'm going to click view online. So now we've got our paper here, and Zotero actually has well, actually all 3 of them have browser plugins that make it really easy for you to save right to your citation management app of choice. So our Zotero one's right here on the side. I'll click Save to Zotero, Save to my library. If I want to take a look at, one of my other files here, then I would save to that. Again, you can make tags, which is really nice, and then just click Done. And then if we went to Zotero, let's take a peek here at, let's see, date added. Let's add that, sort by that, and then you can see there's our citation, and it's all there. Everything that we possibly need to cite this paper is right there. So that's citing in Zotero. We can also click the Cite button here, and you can see that there's a Save to RefWorks. We could click that, and it'll import right to the RefWorks interface that we already had up earlier. So now you can see there we are. But RefWorks also has a browser button, which is actually up here on my bookmarks bar. Click that, saves it, all of our info, save to RefWorks, import. Now I have 2 of those, but that's okay. I can go in and delete one later. And then let's take a look at EndNote. Doesn't look like we have an EndNote extension or an EndNote kind of option for citing here, but they also have a browser plugin that you put in your bookmarks bar. So let's just click Capture Reference here. Oh, it's going to make me log in. But anyway, we'll you would log in, and then you would basically be able to capture the reference the same way that you did with our other 2 browser plugins. So those are super convenient, really easy, and I love the browser plugin. I think it makes it just so easy, especially when you're in the phase where you just need to save a bunch of papers and go back and read them later. Makes it so easy to just save them all and then pull them up again when you have time to read them. But let's look at taking a peek at our catalog record again. We can actually do the same sort of work in exporting our citations right from quick search. So if we already know we want this article and we don't want to read it first or pull it up here, we can just go right to this button that says RefWorks, and again, imports right away. We have an EndNote here. Taking a minute. Number of records imported 1, so that was successful. We go back to our references, and then we see our new reference right there. We can also do export RIS, which will download a file that we can then upload to our Zotero as well. So there are many different ways to get your citations from the web browser or from whatever you're kind of looking at your paper into that citation management system. I think personally that the easiest is to download your browser plugins, which you can get instructions on the writing and citation formatting guide that I have pulled up here on the slide and that I showed at the beginning of this video. But you can also export things directly from whatever interface you're using to look at that paper. So there are many, many different ways, but basically these softwares are extremely powerful and extremely time-saving, and so I would highly recommend using them, and again, using this guide to get set up. If you have any questions about EndNote, RefWorks, or Zotero, along with any other citation questions, please let me know. I'm happy to talk through them, troubleshoot with you, walk you through installing, whatever the case may be, to make sure you feel comfortable using this software, because it really, truly is incredibly helpful. So that concludes the final portion of our 3-part series on library services for graduate students in Bloustein. Again, I am your librarian, Julia Maxwell. I am so happy to be able to support you. Please do not hesitate to get in touch with me. My email is on this last slide here. And if you remember, you can also book appointments with me at any time. So with that, thank you so much for watching. And I hope you'll be in touch and be using the library during the course of your graduate studies here at Rutgers.